In 1936, Alan Turing's universal machine, which opens the door for computer programming, is invented. Meanwhile, a year later, in 1937, Chester Carlson invents the photocopier, which makes reproduction of media a lot easier. In 1937, Japanese physician Taro Takemi builds the first portable electrocardiograph, and 2 years later, he invents the vector cardiograph. In 1938, Hahn, Mainter, and Strassmann became the first to recognize that the uranium atom had actually split. And a year later, in Japan, in 1939, the second man fiber vinylon is created in Japan by Ichiro Sakurada. A year later, in 1940, English physicists John Randall and Andy Booth developed the compact magnetron for use in airplane radar navigation systems, which helped England in World War II. In 1948, Enrico Fermi builds the first nuclear chain reactor, and in 1943, Tommy Flowers and others build the Colossus, the world's first programmable digital electronic computer. In 1947, John Bardeen and William Shockley invent the transistor, which are the building blocks of the microchips.
In 1948, George Gamow developed the Big Bang theory in American territory, while on the other hand, in 1950, the Japanese engineer Mutsuo Sugiura invented the gastroscope, a flexible camera for analyzing the alimentary canal. 5 years later, the Chinese Taiichi Ohno invented the just-in-time manufacturing for eliminating unnecessary and expensive waste producers, helping establish the Toyota production system. That same year in Europe, Francis Crick and James Watson discovered the double helix of the DNA molecule. Later on, in 1959, the Korean Da-Won Kang invented the first operative silicon MOS transistor, the base for today's electronic equipment. While in America, Robert Noyce co-invented the integrated circuit. Also, in 1964, the first public bullet train is built in Japan, which could reach up to 210 kilometers per hour. 4 years later in Europe, Andries van Dam introduces the undo command in common computers, a year after Christian Barnard performed the first successful human heart transplant. In 1968, the Japanese Heitaro Nakajima developed the first digital audio recorder, paving the way to the development of CDs. Later on, in 1969, the American Neil Armstrong is the first human to ever walk on the moon.